Hi guys, so today I'm back with another video just to share my experience with quantum healing hypnosis therapy, which is also called QHHT, which is also probably known as like past life regressions, and just hypnosis healing, I guess you can call it. So I had my QHHT session back in April. It was April 12th of this year, 2022. So it's been a little over a month since I've had my session. And I just wanted to share my experience. So I ended up having my session with Suzanne Spooner. She is such an amazing practitioner. She is just a joy to be around. She is such a beautiful soul. I ended up finding her on YouTube about, I want to say 2 years ago, and I just became very fascinated with QHHT after watching and listening, listening to some of her, all of her sessions, to be honest. I listened to every single one. And so last year I decided to book with her, and it actually ended up taking a year to get my appointment because she is very booked and busy. But the appointment itself came in perfect timing. Perfect timing for sure. And the year went by really quickly. A lot of things transpired since then, and when it came, it was time for it. So I'll jump right into the process. So when I got to her, I want to say I got to her office at 1 p.m. and I left probably at like 6:30, I think. So the whole process itself takes about 5 hours. So the first hour was her explaining, or it may have been even a little over an hour. The first hour to an hour and a half was her explaining the whole QHHT process, the history, and also just telling me all of the information I needed to know, like what I may feel, what I may experience, things of that nature. And also, like, if I had any questions, I was able to ask during that time. After that, she had me give my my life story from beginning to now, up to current, and that process takes quite some time. I don't even know how long it took, because it's just like you're just spilling out your whole life. And I will say that process right there, it actually ended up feeling like I went through therapy. Like, I've never been to therapy before, but after telling her my whole life story, I felt like a whole load was lifted off of me. I felt like I had definitely went through some type of therapy. It was very therapeutic. And it's interesting because maybe it's because, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, a lot of times throughout my life, I've kept a lot of things to myself, because just trying to avoid telling people my business, who I really don't trust with my business. And also, just a lot of times I've kept feelings to myself. I've kept things that happen just to myself for whatever reason. So that day I was able to release all of those things, even though I was no longer holding any negative feelings towards anything at all that happened to me throughout my life. It was just like a relief to release all of those things. So yeah, I would say that's when the therapy started, because something happened and I felt so much lighter afterwards, and I was just like, wow, this is different, but I like it. Okay, so after that, she went over my list of questions, and I probably had between 25 and 30. I don't know exactly how many. It was a lot of questions though, but she has you tell her your life story so that she can better understand what you're wanting to get out of this session, so she can better understand the questions that you have, so that she can elaborate on those questions appropriately. So after going over my life story, She went over my list of questions just to make sure that she understands them, understands how she's, going to ask them and things like that. So, after that's done, I went to the bathroom so that we can get our session started. And there was like this nice little massage table that you lay on, and comfy pillows that you could put under your neck or behind your head, and a blanket, a nice soft blanket. Her office was so cozy, so beautiful, so peaceful, and the energy was just very good in there. All right, so once you're on that table, she starts the induction process, and during the induction process, she does include protection, so that you can protect yourself from any negative energies or entities, who don't belong in your space. Because during that time, you kind of open yourself up, so you want to make sure that you are protected when you're doing things like that. So, went through the induction process and then jumped right into past life. I only went to one past life because that one actually took quite some time, maybe like an hour. And I also had a long list of questions, so we only had time for me to go to one past life. It was interesting, not anything that I would have expected. I'm just going to give a brief description because I don't really need to go into detail. But I ended up being a little white boy in the 1800s in Kentucky. It's interesting because he had a similar life to mine, as far as he grew up without having his father around. And also his personality was similar. He loved to explore. He loved spending time alone. He enjoyed spending time with himself, and he didn't really like being around a lot of people. And that's kind of how I am. So it was, to say the least, it was interesting. And I will say that this is something that Suzanne warned me about, and I definitely experienced it during my session. So basically what she explained was, like 10 years ago, around the time when she first got started, the experience that people would have was they would have the amnesia experience, where most of the time they wouldn't remember anything that happened during their session. And that's because of where we were consciously back then. Our consciousness wasn't as expansive as it is now. So now most people, the experience that they're having is they're completely aware during the entire session, and most of the time they remember every single thing that happened during the session. And that's just because of where we are consciously. We are at a higher level. So during the session, it was so interesting because I felt like this tug of war going on between my right and my left brain. My left brain wanting to analyze everything, wanting me to convince myself that I'm making this stuff up, when I had no reason to make up this stuff. Like, I would have never imagined being a little white boy in the 1800s at all. And even just the information that came through was just like this war. I don't want to call it a war, but it's like my left brain just wanted to just analyze it and say, like, no, I'm making this up. Because it's easy to say that and to feel like that because you're so consciously aware. Like, you can, although your eyes are closed and you're receiving these images and feelings of things that are coming through, you're just so aware of everything that's going on. And it's difficult for your left brain to accept it. So, yeah. All right, so after that, she called on my high self. And it's interesting because when my high self stepped in, I felt like this, I don't know how to explain it, but the best way I can explain it is I felt this energy just like drop into my body. And then from that point on, I was no longer speaking in terms of me, my, I. It was all she, her, and using my it felt so weird calling myself by my name, which is Janaea. it was so weird. Even when I listen back to it, because I have been listening to my recording as I'm supposed to. It sounds so weird, me addressing myself as my name or saying she or her. But I get it, because that's what the high self does, you know. Um, it's just the best way I could explain it is weird. It was a very interesting experience. Um, so yeah, after that, went through my list of questions with the high self, and a lot of things were confirmed, and a lot of things were I got a lot of information. I'm not going to go through everything, but I'll just address like the main things. So one of the questions that I asked was why I received conflicting information about about my last relationship during my ayahuasca session, and I was told that, and I already knew this. I was told that if they said if we weren't to word things the way that we did, she wouldn't have been willing to give that relationship another try, and she needed to they needed to get back together so that she can receive the lessons that she needed to learn, because she was so stubborn and set in her ways that she would not have been willing to learn those lessons with somebody new, which is true. And I already knew that. I basically said that in my last video. um I'm not really going to go over the lessons, because I don't know that that's important at all, but they were some very valuable lessons. Well, I guess I will just say them. All right, so one of the lessons that I needed to learn was to allow other people to take care of me. I needed to learn how to express myself in a healthy way, as far as just voicing what I'm feeling, because I went for so long holding things in and not fully expressing myself in a way that I needed to express myself. Um, what else was there? The whole allowing others to take care of me, because I would literally, I used to be the type of person where I would literally struggle and put myself through so much just to make things happen on my own, or just to be able to say I did it myself. Never wanting to ask. I had to learn how to ask for help. Never wanting to ask for help. And throughout that process, I learned that. I believe there were a few other, but right now I can't really think of it. But they were very important lessons that I really wouldn't have been willing to learn with somebody new. You know, I had to do it with somebody I was familiar with, which I'm okay with. But yeah, so some interesting things that I will say that were happening or going on with me before my QHHT session that I asked about too was for some months before I had my session, I would randomly see like light orbs out of my left peripheral, and those are just basically it had to do with my ability to see spirits and things like that. So I was told that those are just they were just spirits being playful. Also, I had been experiencing like daily. It wasn't all day, but it would happen randomly daily. Sometimes when I would touch things, I would get shocked, like the light switch or water, or even like I would touch my son or somebody else. I would either get shocked or shock them. I'm not sure if I was doing the shocking or if I was getting shocked by them. But basically, it had to do with my healing abilities. I was told that there's a lot of activations going on right now, and those will develop, at the perfect timing, but it's a process. And also I experienced like my body would sometimes just heat up, even like overnight while I would be sleeping. I would just be like drenched in sweat. And sometimes during the day, I would just randomly break out into a sweat. And it actually happened to me while I was having my session. And I was told that that's just my body's way of releasing energy that doesn't serve me, and also releasing negative energy that I'm exposed to throughout the day and things like that. So since the session, I haven't experienced my body heating up anymore. I haven't experienced the shocking anymore, and I haven't experienced seeing the light orbs anymore. And I feel like those things, I was experiencing those things so that I can become aware of them, at least enough to ask about them and, kind of know what's going on. And I'll also say that after the session, I'll say the day, let me see. Okay, I'll say that night after the session, I did do a lot of sweating. But after that, I didn't. My body wouldn't really heat up like that anymore. Like, I haven't experienced that since then. And I noticed that my body felt lighter. Like, I'm already a small person, but like my pants and stuff fit looser. It's interesting because I've this is actually like a pattern. Every time I do any type of healing work, I end up losing weight, not like an unhealthy amount of weight, but a noticeable amount of weight, noticeable for me, comes off of me, and I end up just feeling lighter. So I thought that was interesting because every time I've done any healing work, I feel lighter. So besides that, I will say afterwards, I felt, honestly, for a few days, I felt anxious because there was that tug of war going on between my right brain and my left brain. My right brain I was laughing at myself because I'm really trying to convince myself that this stuff didn't happen and that I just made all this stuff up. And my left brain is like, I just made all of this stuff up. None of this is real. And it made me feel anxious, and I haven't felt anxious in a long time. It was just for a few days until I came to accept the experience. It was just like this back and forth, like, it happened, it didn't happen. It happened, it didn't happen. It was just weird. But that's the reason too. She warned me about that. How the left brain just tries to avoid it or just dismiss it, whereas the right brain knows. So now, like, I accept it. I've been listening to my tape. I'm supposed to listen to it 2 times a week, but lately it's only been 1 time a week, and I'll get better at that. But I will say that listening to it consistently enough has helped me to accept my experience. Although it's always weird when I hear myself talking on there because I'm saying Janaea or she. I'm referring to myself as like someone else. I thought that was really interesting, but I do feel like it's been helpful for me to listen to it because it helps me to remind myself of who I truly am. And I got a lot of good information out of that session. I do feel like a lot of healing was being done, even though I didn't need a lot of I didn't need really physical healing. I did mention my hair situation, which is still in the process of growing back. It's just been slowly, sporadically coming in here and there. And I was told that because I am a healer myself, I have to do the healing work myself. And that was something that I deep down inside I knew, but I was hoping for like a quick fix, like can they just fix it for me? But yeah, they were saying they're willing to help me, but I have to do the work and I have to be consistent. I have to continue to talk to the cells in my hair and scalp, say kind things, give it love, and that stimulates, it's healing and growing and things like that. And was I consistent with it before then? No, I would do it, but I wasn't doing it every day. I wasn't making it my daily practice. I would do it when I remember because lately I've been busy and I do have to create some balance in my life. But yeah, I did notice that when I was doing it consistently for a short period of time, it felt like it was speeding up the process because I can actually feel whenever the new hair is growing in. But yeah, I'm grateful that I got that information because right now I am making it my business to be consistent with it daily, and things like that. But oh, and another thing, the only physical things that came up in that session was like my hair and my eyesight. And the same thing with my eyesight. I have to do the work. So 2 years ago, or maybe it was a year ago, I found these eye exercises with this guy who healed himself on YouTube. And I never took the time to be consistent with that practice. I may have done it like 3 days and that was it. But in order for me to heal my eyesight, I have to follow that practice and be consistent, because I am able to heal myself because I am a healer. So yeah, that was also confirmation, because deep down inside I knew that I knew I had to do it myself, but I was hoping for a quick fix. But deep down inside I knew that was what I was going to be told. But that is about it. As far as I can think, I can't think of anything else that I would need to share. But overall, I will say that it was an amazing experience. It was different than anything else I've done. It was even different than ayahuasca, and it was interesting. It was weird. On another note, it was like pretty cool, and I actually still do want to become a QHHT practitioner, so that will be coming soon, because I am still very interested in it. And overall, I would say I enjoyed my experience. I'm grateful that I did it. I would definitely do it again. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to comment below, and thank you so much for watching.